Welcome to the Fallen Frequency Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Fallon, your guide through the world of music, art, and living life with a vibrational twist. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're delving into the fascinating world where music meets wellness with an extraordinary artist, Caye. And I had the privilege of working alongside Caye as a wellness director and guitarist on tour, collaborating on protocols for nutrition, movement, pre- and post-show routines, vocal health, longevity techniques, and so much more. And he hails originally from Boston and now lives in Santa Monica. And he has quite an interesting musical journey that's very diverse, very captivating. He draws from all sorts of different backgrounds of classical training to infusing jazz, hip-hop, calypso, reggae, and all sorts of other influences into his signature sound. And I know personally he's influenced by the likes of Bon Iver, Bob Marley, Kanye West, and his music really has this beautiful depth and very emotionally engaging. And from his early days, rapping over beats to crafting intricate melodies, Caye has evolved quite a bit as an artist. And we'll explore experiences on the road, the significance of sound and vibration, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, his own personal awakening, and just really getting into his conscious approach of how he makes music and art. And noteworthy is his extensive writing and production credits, which include collaborations with Alessia Cara, Meghan Trainor, Abby the Nomad, Kid Quill, Riz de la Vie, and working with Disney and MGA Entertainment. And I'm really excited to share this one. Just join us as we really go down the rabbit hole of his creativity and how he's stayed an independent force in the music industry, and just really getting into just what it is that is behind the magic in his own craft and what he's been doing, what he's up to recently, and just how he's pushing the boundaries to a new level of what it means to be an artist, and especially a balanced one at that. So stay tuned and I'll see you on the other side. All right. So, welcome to the Fallen Frequency Podcast, my brother.
Thanks.
Dude.
Glad to be here.
Well, this
glad to be here in my home.
Yeah.
But glad to be here with you.
Yes, we're here. And I'm super stoked to go down a deep dive with this beautiful man. He has been a pivotal artist in my own career, just working with, and an amazing friend and special being that has many depths and layers and is very inspiring, just because I feel like when I met him, he really was on this wavelength of bringing a level of consciousness to music. And I was introduced by our mutual friend Eli. And yeah, it was super inspiring because I feel like throughout my career as a musician, playing for a lot of artists and working with a lot of artists, there's many that are really just chasing the dream of being this popular artist or in their certain lane of R&B or hip hop, which I feel like you have a lot of those aspects. Like you have the background of being in the music industry, but then you're bringing this level of consciousness that has a level of depth that a lot of artists I feel like are striving for, but you're just naturally living in it. So
thanks, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't always that way.
Yeah, so that's what I'm excited to get into about.
Yeah.
I'd say, just to pop it off, what really brought you into music and art, and was that part of your family, or what brought you into that?
Yeah. I mean, I started playing classical piano like very young. We always had a music room at my house in Boston, and Yeah, I don't know. My family, my dad and mom are big music fans. They love music, so music was kind of always playing. Um, Me and my brother and sister all like took lessons and really started young playing instruments. Um, and for me, I played classical for a while, and I realized I didn't like love playing classical piano, so I decided to branch out and explore new genres, and I started playing the drums and then the steel drums, and joined some jazz bands throughout high school, and then um, started producing, and kind of that led to me exploring all these different genres, and realizing that though I hated practicing classical piano, I actually loved music,
Right.
and there was so much more that music had to offer than just classical piano,
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there's something about that discipline, I feel like,
Totally.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, the background of learning that the music theory in classical and jazz, like, led to making, uh, I don't know, I think more, better decisions with my current music, and that whole background is helpful there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say if I had to, like, choose one moment that made me feel like I wanted to do music for the rest of my life, like, I would, because when I was in high school, I was also playing tennis pretty seriously. Um, I went to Trinidad one summer after eighth grade. I just started playing the steel pan, and this family took me and my dad in for the summer, showed us around Trinidad, took us to all
Damn.
these like pan jam
Oh,
things, and
that's
took us
crazy.
to their like private family jam tent. It was like this tent under a highway where they had drum sets, saxophone, bunch of steel pans, and like
Damn.
they invited me to jam with them and made me my own steel pan, and like jamming with them, I remember just this feeling of like connectivity. They were so locked in. It was like, dad, mom, son, like two sons, daughter, and everyone was just so locked in. Everyone was so nice at music, and there
Wow.
was such a feeling of like love and connectivity in that tent. And that kind of once that happened to me, I was like, okay, like this is powerful. Music is a powerful thing, and there's something beautiful to explore here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was the spark for me. I came back from that, started. I got Logic Pro, and started
Nice.
producing and trying to bring that feeling into my music. And I think it took me a long time to actually figure out how to bring that feeling into my music, but that was always the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful because I feel like places like that show you that music is just a part of life. Like
Yeah.
they really just live it.
Yeah.
And it's just another aspect of life, just like going and getting good food or
Yeah.
hanging out with friends. Music is just a way to pass time and a certain
Totally.
thing. And
Yeah.
I feel like they take the pressure out of, you got to play music to be
Yeah.
an
It's not
amazing artist or whatever, that kind of whole mentality.
yeah. It wasn't a performance. They're just in their, tent playing to play because they love playing with each other
Yeah.
and having this family moment.
It brings me back to even how a lot of music really, to me, is the universal language. So they're really just honoring that level of
Yeah.
integrity when it comes to just, yeah, music, vibration, frequency.
It's really.
But it's just a part. They don't think about it like that. As I feel like in the Western world, I mean, we're like consistently analyzing and trying to figure out why or what it does, for someone, but they just do it because it feels good.
Yeah. No, and I mean everyone loves music in
Yeah.
some degree, It's sounds like, and this is like birds chirping in the morning is music,
Yeah.
And everyone loves, that feeling that it brings you, uh, even if they don't understand it. And a
Yeah.
lot of people have no idea what chords are or what notes are, but they love music.
Yeah.
So
Well,
something about that is
yeah, that's
is
that's
amazing.
awesome. Because it reminds me too. I feel like part of being in an academia school setting learning music was awesome just because I know what's going on and I can figure things out and teach myself stuff, but at the same time I've had to do so much unlearning
Yeah. Totally.
And they don't have that blockage of thinking, oh, that chord doesn't go there, or that's not the right note. They
Yeah.
just feel it.
Yeah. It,
And there's growing up and listening to records and just playing those records that you like rather
yeah.
than just figuring out, I don't know. And I feel like technique is important, but I feel like they figure out their technique by just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It always, theory was always like something that I learned, but never, I always kind of like hated rules in general.
Yeah.
Growing up, like I used to get in a lot of trouble in middle school because and I was too young to like really know why, but it would just piss me off when there would be a dumb rule that I was supposed to follow just because everyone else said so. But it was like, why am I following this rule that like makes no sense? Like, why can't I go across this line? You know, this
I
is
feel
this
like that's
line.
why me and you are probably friends too.
Yeah,
Because
dude.
I feel that too. I feel like I've just always had this inherent sense of like, I don't understand why everyone has to follow
Yeah.
these rules so
Dude,
strictly.
one of my biggest pet peeves is when you're like at a store or an establishment and one of the workers there is like, it's the simplest task. You ask, you're like, hey, like, do you mind if like, could I do this? Simple task.
Yeah, can we like put these tables
Yeah,
together?
can we put these tables? Like, can I move that chair? Like, sorry, like I don't have the authority to do that. Like, you can't move this chair over here. He's like, sorry, gotta talk to my boss. Not here today. Like, come on, like why not?
Totally.
Fucking do something. It's like those
No, it
simple
totally-
things that people are just like, sorry, I can't. Like, you know, you really think your manager would care if you move this chair to satisfy a customer?
Right.
You know, and if they do, like, this is not the establishment I want to be in. Right
Yeah.
now.
Totally. Well, and yeah, that brings me back to just, I think when we actually are not getting so wrapped up in all these rules and ways of going about things, I think the freedom of our own individual self can start to shine through. And sometimes that means like being a kid that maybe makes a ruffle in the feathers for people.
Yeah.
But I feel like that also is important as long as you're doing it just because, not just to mess with people, but just because you actually want to express yourself and you're tired of all these different boundaries and things that people lay around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of why I feel like music also, like the production side and the writing side really drew me in because I feel like instead of, like, finally I had this playground where I was in charge of everything and I could break any rules I want, you know, make anything that feels good, sounds good.
Yeah.
That definitely, yeah. The anti rules. I'm a big anti rules guy.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's like I feel like some of the greatest music is always pushing those boundaries of the rules. And you know, you think about an artist like Rosalia, she talks about how all the OG flamenco people really were upset by what she was doing with flamenco music, but it's also she's the cutting edge of
She's taking
breaking the rules and
totally.
taking it to the next level.
Things are meant to evolve.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I feel that there's a need for everyone to have some level of just finding what music can do for them, dancing, singing, being able to just experience music. Obviously, a lot of people go to concerts and stuff like that, but I feel like, at least it's my own theory, that if people were less passive about music and just tried to engage in it as a daily practice, like it was in the 1800s, just to play piano or do, that was just a task like reading a book, I feel like people's level of health and overall well-being would be probably a lot better.
Yeah, totally.
Just because it's a different part of the brain. Like, what's your
Well,
theory on that?
I was just thinking about dancing, how sick dancing is. I wish I was a better dancer.
It's the same.
Like, I feel like the way I think about music is very like head, you know, like I feel it in the body when I'm playing, obviously, like it reverberates through, but the physical representation of music is dance in the human body. I feel like it's such a, you know, I'm getting better at moving with the grooves, but like
Yeah.
some people who are tapped in with dancing is really incredible.
Yeah, well, and
Such a cool.
it really brings into the frequency of what I feel like people communing, making vibration, whether it be telling stories or singing songs. That's something that's an age old
Yeah.
tradition for a reason, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think, when I come back to a lot of the things that I've heard about shamanism and how when someone is sick, they ask 5 major questions. One is, when's the last time you sang? When's the last time you danced? When's the last time you enjoyed stories?
Well,
When's the last time you enjoyed being alone? And when's the last time you actually really thought about the mystery of life and the unknown?
damn.
And that's how they found the root cause of a lot of these sicknesses.
Yeah, dude. That's insane to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a. I feel like. Wow. What were the 5 again?
So, when's the last time you sang? When's the last time you danced? When's the last time you enjoyed stories or myths? When's the last time you enjoyed being alone? And then when's the last time that you enjoyed or thought about the mystery of life and actually really were in awe of that magical mystery that it is?
It feels like the 5 most natural human instincts.
Yeah, pretty
You
much.
know?
Yeah,
Just like innately, I feel like we're made to do those 5 things naturally all the time.
absolutely.
And so it makes sense to me, you know, if you're out of balance, if you're sick,
Yeah.
you're just not doing the natural things your body wants to do,
Yeah.
you know? Your
Well, because I
mind
think
wants to
about it
do.
like when I get like over analytical or if I'm just study and wanting to get all these different things down pat, I forget to just sit and enjoy a story or think, reading a book or watching a movie, something like that.
Yeah,
And it's funny how that can just cleanse me and just allow me to
totally.
get back to, oh yeah, that's why I do music. I remember now.
Dude, I feel like also whenever I feel uninspired or like I'm hitting a wall, like it's in those moments where I'm not doing those things, you know?
Yeah.
Where I feel like everything's so bleak right now. This week has been a tough week or whatever. Like it's because I'm not taking the time
Yeah.
to indulge and like enjoy a
Yeah.
good movie like last night. Or
Totally.
like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because I feel like it's a bidirectional pathway. I mean, you know, I think something that's really cool that we've bonded over too is just, we like to be physical. We like to actually do, some type of activity, whether it be athletics or fitness or movement that also is in a certain way, it's a clearing thing. Do you feel like your art changes if you're not moving?
I feel like I haven't not moved for a while, honestly. So I don't even know at this point. I know that when I don't get out and exercise like 5, 6 times a week, I'm like I go crazy. Like
Yeah.
I don't sleep as well. I all day I'm like agitated, just kind of
Yeah.
like trying to like go do something. Things are more. I get like more upset when things aren't flowing as easily.
Yeah.
Versus when I get that energy out, I feel like I'm able to calm myself and like I don't know. I definitely feel like exercise is one of the best ways of clearing my mind and
Yeah.
and taking away that like that edge, you
Yeah.
know, the like snappiness that sometimes I end up feeling if I don't, you know, where the Ableton crashes or
Yeah.
something middle song you like lose 30 minutes of work, so
Yeah.
if the autosave like doesn't work, and I'm like, oh, it sucks. Like my ability to deal with little things like that
Yeah.
is my tolerance is way higher when I'm exercising.
Yeah. Well, and it's like it comes back to stress too. I feel like if we're giving our body our bodies are meant to experience stress, and I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, not excess stress, not chronic stress, but when we actually stress the body, whether it be cold plunges or exercise or whatever way people like to do it, I feel like it's training the body and giving it enough input so that it actually can recover and then expand and grow.
Mm.
Where I feel like, yeah, a lot of, at least part of my inspiration for learning a lot of this stuff for myself has been like noticing that I was stagnant a lot of the time, just sitting, working behind a computer, working on music, sitting down playing guitar. And if I wasn't getting some type of movement or activity or something that actually brings me out of my head and more into my body, then it just gets so mental because our bodies aren't moving. And I feel like art is such a integral part of our human physiology, actually, so that if we're not getting those inputs and those different stimuluses, then we're just not living at our full potential. I feel like there's like, yeah, just from my own experience of being a musician that was so yang in the mental realm, where I was just completely pushing and going so deep mentally that I would sometimes almost forget to take care of the physical body, think about things like drinking water and
Yeah.
food and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
totally. Totally. I feel like that was a lot of my life before, really before 2019 when everything shut down. I feel like I was all, I moved to LA. It's this big, exciting city where there's so many things. I met so many cool people that I'd always looked up to, like, really fast, and it was such an exciting time to, like, I was 18, 19, 20, 21 in this new city for the first time in my life. Suki, what are you doing? So curious.
Got a little cat.
Yeah, we got a little cat running around. Two little cats. One is not running around though. She likes to sleep.
Just checking it out.
Sooks. She in the camera? No. Sook, come up here. Nope, she's out. Yeah, no. I'm 18, 19, 20, 21 in this new city for the first time in my life. It's sunny all the time. There are all these like cool celebrities, people I've looked up to, people I've like wanted to meet my whole life. I'm like, taking it all in. Obviously, it's like a candy store. As a kid, you're running around. You never want to stop. You want to keep going, and you want to be the biggest, best thing you could possibly be. And yeah, when you're in that mindset, you kind of forget to take care of yourself and make sure you're hydrating, make sure you're sleeping, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're, like doing all the things that make it possible for you to actually be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to dial that in and realize, like, I can't be doing this. This is my longevity of my career, and my life is just shortening with every day of this. So,
Yeah, well, because I feel like we've been bred to believe that, and I think there's valuable moments of, staying up late and getting a project done. Like, I think that can be valuable, but I think because we're on this go, go, go productivity level, especially as a society, that I think many times I think about how burnt out my body must have been just from the amount of little sleep, caffeine, late nights, just going.
And you think about the what you accomplish in those times of staying up to 4 a.m. to crank it out so you don't have to do it tomorrow, so you can work on something else. Like, the quality of that work is, sometimes you strike gold and you just like gotta capture it.
Yeah.
Sure, I still feel that way. This, like, to this day, like, if you're really striking gold, like, you capture it.
Yeah.
And you grind through. But if you're doing that 6 days a week, then you're just, what I realized, like, especially on the lockdown, when I had 2 years of time when no one was really doing much, you couldn't do anything. Like, cut yourself off when you're not feeling it anymore and come back tomorrow and you're going to have a whole new perspective and you're going to have all these ideas that like you're trying to force out, but you're tired and you're not really like thinking straight, and you're going to create something way better and more meaningful. And yeah, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, no, I've been on that like morning afternoon session vibe the last couple of years since the lockdowns.
Yeah, same.
I like it. I mean, you know, the late night has a certain energy for sure, but I agree. There's something about, I mean, it comes down to such a simple thing. Obviously, I feel like everyone knows that sleep is important, but I think a lot of the time we forget that it's the most available free medicine we can have.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, whenever you get a headache or you're feeling sick or whatever, just sleep.
Yeah, just go lay down.
That's like literally,
drink water.
You can take all the drugs you want and it will like postpone the pain. Sleep and you'll get rid of the pain. You know?
Absolutely.
Maybe not fully, but after enough, you will.
Yeah.
That is literally, you know, sleep for 10 hours, that's 10 hours of healing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just healing. Yeah. It's like a video game.
You're going to the clinic.
It's like a video game.
Or it is like a video game.
You're like running low on health. Oh, what am I going to do? Rest. Oh, full health.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. New day.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of just taking care of yourself and, you know, finding time to really look after your nutrition, all these different things, like how did that evolve for you? Like, because I know, you know, you had a pretty early on career. Like how did that start?
When I guess the career started when, I got back the beginning of high school, basically freshman year from that Trinidad trip. And I had this spark, this energy. I was still kind of balancing music and tennis. Yeah. And for a lot of my high school career, I was still thinking like, I'm going to go to school for tennis, try to go pro maybe, you know. That was my trajectory for a little bit. Obviously music, 50% also had that. I was thinking music too. And then I think it was freshman or sophomore year of high school when I hurt my wrist or something, and I couldn't play at the same level for like a couple weeks, and I had to rest. And I just realized that tennis was something I could play till I'm mid-30s, maybe 40 if I'm really, really lucky, like, you know. And then I retired, and like obviously there's more that you can do with your life after you retire, but I just felt like music, like I would be getting steadily worse after I turned 35, basically. Right. And I was just like, that's not, like, even at that point, my mindset was like longevity. I want to do what I love for as long as I can. And I thought, you know, there's musicians out there who are 90 and still ripping and still like, you know, getting better. So that was definitely a big mindset switch for me when I realized that. And then I decided to, you know, to do music. Yeah. So I started putting out songs that I was producing. I got a microphone, kind of like hid away some raps that I had recorded in the depths of my hard drive, and didn't really want to show anyone because I'd never sang or rapped in front of anyone before. But my cousin Theron, my manager, found one of the songs and convinced me to put it out, and it got, you know, way more listens and love than anything else. This is on SoundCloud, yeah. Way more attention than anything I'd ever put out. I just put out like production things, even things with other singers on it, and nothing had really stuck until that moment. So I just like kept rolling out singles on SoundCloud throughout high school and building up, you know, little buzz around my high school, the other high schools in the area, just around Boston. Started doing some shows, and they were going really well. We were crushing all the shows, selling out some cool venues in Boston. So then this manager reached out to me from LA, who found me on SoundCloud, and I was like, oh my God, LA manager, this is legit. And, you know, and it was this management team of 3 guys. They were great. They really like taught me so much. But also it worked out because I was already going out to USC for music school. They were in LA. It's kind of like I was coming into this situation where people are going to look out for me and,
Yeah.
like have my back and help me build my career. So that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I came out here and all that crazy shit started happening, and I was grinding. And it really took, over COVID, I spent a lot of time meditating.
Yeah.
Really like 3 to 6 months in the beginning of COVID, I was meditating like an hour a day.
Wow.
And
What introduced you to that?
I read this book by Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. And
Nice.
it just blew my mind. Like, there was a part essentially talking about you can train the brain without actually doing activities, where they did a study of a bunch of people who played the piano every day for 6 months, and then another group of people who thought about playing the piano every day for an hour a day for 6 months. And by the end of it, like they both, when they put the electromagnetic whatever things on your brain and scanned the brain, when they thought about playing piano, like the actual connections were about the same.
Wow.
So the people who just thought about it actually got better at piano as well.
Yeah.
And then they did another study of a group of people who went to the gym every day for 3 months or whatever. And then another group of people who didn't go to the gym but thought really hard about working out every day for an hour.
Wow.
For 3 months. And obviously the people who went to the gym probably got a little more pump, but there was like 30% muscle growth amongst the group that just thought about it and didn't even work out or exercise. And like everything
it's
like
gonna give people a bunch of excuses.
Oh, you can cut that part out.
No, that's good.
No, but that just blew my mind. I was like, okay, the power of the brain and thinking and like meditating is so powerful.
Yeah.
So he had
really
this
is.
like meditation program where he definitely has a bunch of amazing things that he's done and accomplished and made. But I was doing this like manifestation one, which was like an hour a day. It starts with this breath work thing, and then you just like really like get deep into these meditations on and think about what you want to change about yourself, like who you want to be, who you want to become. And I'd meditated on that for a long ass time and decided there was a lot of things I wanted to change, and definitely health was super important. Definitely being mindful with the art and music I was creating was one of the main things, like the message I was promoting.
Yeah.
So that was a big spiritual changing moment for me.
No, that's super powerful just because I feel like just watching how you manifest things is impressive. I think a lot of people could learn more from just knowing that actually what you're envisioning and what you're believing and the thoughts, words, deeds that you're doing actually really are all the time manifesting and bringing things in. And that can mean negative things too. And,
Totally
comical, weird situations. But at the same time, it's really powerful how you can actually fully call in what it is that you're looking for or that you want to be. And I think a lot of people need that right now, because I think a lot of people are so focused on what they don't want or what they don't like about the world that they are actually just promoting more of that energy.
Totally.
Which is an irony, because it's not that I don't want to know about what's going on in the world, but I do want a level of integrity in my mindset and my brain and my stillness inside myself to be able to continue pulling in what I do want, magnetizing the people, places, and things that I want.
Yeah, that's a really complex question, right?
Yeah.
Where there is crazy shit happening in the world every day, and there are things we can help and there are things we can't. And sometimes I feel like in situations where like anything I do to try and tackle this topic, like isn't going to move the needle at all.
Yeah.
You know? Then all it's doing is just frustrating me. All it's doing is making my aura that I'm giving off to every person that I interact with worse, you know? So I think there's a balance of like finding what can I actually do for this cause, like, and if it's really nothing, like how can I change? You know, change comes from within, right?
Yeah.
So if it's really just messing up your whole aura and you're going out there and messing someone else's day up and then they're messing someone else's day, like it's a chain effect.
No, well, and it goes right back to we can't change the world unless we change ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm of the belief that, you know, you change yourself so that you can be a light to invite someone else to change themselves, and or not even change, just become, and like
just reflect back to what they
reflect. And the more good energy you put out in the world, the more good energy you're going to receive.
Totally.
And the more good energy we have, the less bad energy we're going to have. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because I've thought about this a lot, and I feel like it's like having the positive mindset and all, really having the good energy, but then also integrating and knowing, you know, for me, I know parts of myself that get angry or frustrated or blow people off or whatever my, you know, I call my shadow, and I'm aware of those things so that I can actually hold those and pull those in and like love them and hug them rather than try to push them away. Because I feel like also in the spiritual community, there's a lot of people that are just suppressing all of the parts of themselves that they don't want to look at because it's been told that it's bad, or, you know, it's not spiritual or whatever. But at the end of the day, if we are fighting that, we're actually almost going to unconsciously keep inviting more situations until we start to become aware. Because I also feel like a lot of the synchronicities, or even what we think are coincidences, but they just keep happening over and over, I think are little knocks on the door messages to tell us, hey, there's something that you're still not aware of in your subconscious that is probably from eons. It's probably not even just you, it's your parents and your parents' parents and all the different ancestors you have. But if you're not aware of this, you're just going to keep inviting this situation.
Yeah, totally. I have this funny theory that like one, whenever I get overwhelmed, a lot of the time it's because I realize I'm thinking like very here in this moment in my life. There's a lot of things happening around me, like a lot of things happening in the world, and like it's very here. What helps me a lot is zooming out and thinking like, okay, we're a bunch of humans, living beings that are on this planet of rock floating in space.
Yeah.
Which is more massive than anyone can even comprehend.
Yeah.
There's probably millions and millions of other situations like ours, other rocks that have life in the galaxy, the cosmos around us, you know, surrounding other suns and stars and whatnot. And so when you really break it down, like why nothing is that crazy important, you know?
Yeah.
That in our day-to-day lives, like nothing is really gonna, like, I don't even know what the world is, but when I think about that, I think about the goal of humanity, right?
Yeah.
And I know for one thing, you can feel when someone's vibe is good. You can feel when they're in a good place. You can feel their energy.
Yeah.
And you can feel when something's bad. You can feel when there's a war happening, and you can feel how it affects everyone. So the only thing that like other stars and suns and planets and alien rocks can feel is the energy we're emitting from Earth.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is like the most important thing for humanity to be conscious of. You know, maybe there's technological advancements that could maybe, I don't even know why it would be good to get to another planet, but but like it seems fun too to explore that. I agree with the idea of exploring. But if we're just thinking about it from that perspective, like I think the most important thing we can do is just heal as much as we can, give off as much good energy and good, you know, elements into the atmosphere as possible to just, that's like all we can really contribute you know?
Yeah. Well, it's, yeah, 100%. Well, I feel like it comes back to that, there's love versus fear, abundance versus scarcity. And I feel like it really is a choice in every second, every moment to really think about how am I going to have gratitude. And the way I've been looking at gratitude lately is similar in a certain way of what you were just talking about. It's like looking at the bigger picture or even the bigger picture of my life. Like I'll get so frustrated about, oh man, I thought this was going to happen by now. And, I put in all this work. What's going on? But then I realize, wait, I'm exactly where I was dreaming about being literally just 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I freaking out? And it's like sometimes it takes me just like cleaning out my phone or something where I see all these like old photos of me and I'm like, who the heck is that person?
Dude.
Like, who is that?
It's so true. You zoom back a couple years and you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You're it's hard to even comprehend that you were that person living in that skin.
Yeah. Well, and it comes back down to the values of, I can also see the different levels of my thought patterns in those moments where I was thinking so much smaller than I really should have been thinking, but also, it's probably
Right.
in all the right timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, well, when it comes back to music too, and I think the industry is in this funny place where I know from my experience in playing for all these amazing artists and really seeing how amazing and powerful it can feel to really do music for large audiences and things like that. But then the toxicity level of, I think so much people are focused on statistics and outputs and all these things that are valuable to understand, but at the same time, it leaves the art behind and really is just focused on this outcome. It's definitely deterred me and made me feel certain emotions of disdain towards the music industry in certain aspects. Like, what's your experience with that?
Yeah.
And how have you navigated that?
It's like, one, I love statistics. Like, I'm just a big numbers guy.
Yeah.
So I love just monitoring that type of output for my own sake. I think it's fun. But the music industry is kind of set up it's a scam.
Yeah. Yeah, let's be honest.
It's a scam. The music industry is a scam. A bunch of business people set up this foundation where they could take advantage of artists who weren't thinking about that, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and capitalize on making all the money. And, so the whole the whole foundation of the music industry is like set up to screw artists,
Yeah.
And creative people.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Yeah.
But I think it's changing.
Yeah, I
because
think there's this like inner calling that I think people in the music world are feeling like,
yeah.
we can't deal with this anymore. This is ridiculous.
Well, because I think creative people now even are beginning to have a wider understanding of, one, that like you need to know enough about business to be in here and not get screwed. That's the biggest thing when I was getting into the music industry was everybody says, be careful. Everyone says, don't get screwed over. The music industry is full of sharks. That is the narrative around the music industry. So everyone coming in the music industry is hearing that and saying, oh, I can't get screwed over. So everyone's coming in cautious, which is good because that's going to change things. Just that. People weren't saying that back in the day.
Totally.
People were saying, oh, you got a deal? Great. Do it.
Exactly.
That's awesome. You're doing music.
Yeah, totally.
So it's changing. I think the idea of people being able to be in their bedroom and set up a studio, buy some monitors, get a laptop and you're set, you're ready to go, you know?
Yeah.
That opens up the ability to just create music to anyone, you know, which is, I don't think was available back then.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, and you know, you can just distribute now by yourself. So there are a lot of things that are going in the right direction where you can now get your music out there. You can use social media for free and promote your music. And there are things that aren't controlled by the label anymore. And the labels are feeling that, and that's why there are all these mid-tier labels, and it's changing.
Yeah.
There's more volume of people putting music out, so it's a little harder to break through.
Yeah.
But you have the tools. So it's like, you know, you have the tools to put stuff out on your own and create stuff on your own. So
yeah, it's like a double-edged sword too.
It's a
Because I
double-edged
feel
sword.
like it also, I've noticed the people that are really putting in the work and that really have the quality still somehow manage to shine through. I mean, I feel like even as an artist, I'm still learning more and more about how to do that when it comes to marketing. But it is definitely, it's inspiring in a certain way for me as someone that spent almost 20 years perfecting my craft of music, that I know with a certain level of confidence that some people are just jumping on the ship right now, and it's going to take some time for them to really get into that flow that I feel like I've luckily been around and had the right mentors and people around me too. But I feel like that leaves me with a sense of confidence. Also, at like a certain level of responsibility. Like I need to share this wisdom because also the level of discipline that it takes to learn an instrument and music is not an easy thing.
Totally.
That I think, like I said earlier, it would be very valuable for people to just have that as a practice, because I feel like, I don't know, there's some certain level of, I feel like I've seen a lot of people view musicians and artists as they're just having fun all the time and it's just this easy life and we can just do whatever we want and sleep in.
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize the type of grind that it takes. Like a lot of these artists that you're seeing that are on the Spotify charts or the Billboard charts, they've been putting at least 10 plus years most of the time, and not even just like dabbling around, like hardcore pushing.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
Thinking. I mean, because it's not just the music, you know, you finish the music and then you go to mix, you go to master, spend all that time, and then you're like, okay, now we need to figure out how to create this visual world so that people understand it.
Yeah.
And and so that we give this music the best platform to succeed, you know?
Yeah.
And then it goes into all the thinking and debating on what's the best type of content that would go with this? What's the best cover art? What's the best, you know, like how do we package this so that people are ready to receive it, you know?
Yeah.
And then promote it.
Yeah.
And then tour it.
Yeah. Totally.
And then do it again.
Totally.
And it's not a, you know, 9 to 5 grind where you're, you know, log in your computer at 9, work till lunchtime, take an hour off, work till 5, and then shut your computer down, don't think about work till the next day. It's
a 24-hour
you dream
day.
about what your next song, and then you wake up and you record it, and then you think about the business side of things and how things make sense and how you can pay for your rent and how you can pay for all these promotional things you want to do. And then you think about, and then 6 o'clock hits and you're going on a walk and you're going out to dinner, but you're still thinking about, you know.
I mean, it's like a gateway drug to being an entrepreneur.
It really is. There's like so much, there's so much you can think about. And it's like, I don't know. It depends how you measure success, obviously, but my mind is always going about all these things, you know.
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
It really is. Well, and
because there's so much to think about.
Truly.
Yeah.
I've easily gotten super overwhelmed and I have to come back down to the basics of like, this means something to me. I've seen this change people's lives just from them being in the room and hearing it. I need to respect and honor this and allow this to be out in the world and it's still a consistent practice that I'm getting better at. Like the other day I was doing archery with a friend, and she
Sick.
was reminding me, like just three simple tools of basically like point, shoot, and let it go. Something along those lines, where it's just like
Aim, point and shoot.
yeah, yeah.
Point,
Which is
shoot.
yeah, I don't know.
Pull back, point, shoot.
Yeah,
Probably something like
but basically just like it was really at that moment it was giving me a download of you kind of have to just get your focus right, aim for the target, and then you just kind of have to let it go. Like you shoot it off into the universe, and that's it.
Totally.
And hopefully it hits the target.
I've been trying to get better at that as well.
Yeah.
It's the never ending.
Well, because I just feel like for me, I just, as an artist, I get so mental about it that I start sitting on all these projects that I've made because I'm like, maybe it could just get 5% better.
Yeah.
And it would be even that much more impressive, and all this stuff. But really, I feel like there is this level of almost like a photographer is capturing the moment.
Yeah.
Like you capture that energetic moment of music, and then that's it. And then, yeah, you can tweak some things, get things right, get the mix and master. But that's really the project. Or you can just keep layering it, which there's an aspect of beauty to that too. But
it's a balance. It's such a balance because one, you want to, I don't know, I have a lot of theories about this, but one, from a business perspective, time in market is better than time out of market,
yeah,
The longer something is out there, the longer something is available for people to find, the better chance you have that people are going to find it,
Yeah.
and people are going to listen to it. Maybe there's a big Samsung ad guy who finds your song and wouldn't have found it if it was just sitting in your vault,
Yeah.
You never know. So,
Oh yeah.
that is one take. The other take, though, is that everything you put out there, you're making so that it's timeless, so that it can live forever.
Yeah.
And in that in mind, like spending an extra half a year to make it the perfect version that you would be comfortable listening to 50 years from now, half a year equals 50 plus years of longevity versus,
Totally.
that is important. So it's definitely a balance. I think there are definitely songs that I've made in the past that I feel like I listen to now and I'm like, damn, why didn't I put this out?
Yeah.
And then there's definitely songs that I didn't put out that I was like, I'm glad I didn't put this out because I was thinking about it, but so it's hit or miss. And then the ones that make it through, I think the goal should always be to create and put out as much as you can and feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
But you also can't, be too hard on yourself because it's an absolute grind to really, it costs money, it costs time, costs effort to put anything that you're working on out and get it to that point. So you only have so much of those things, money, time, and effort to give. So
totally,
you need to obviously think about what you want to put out there a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is nice to just let things go. So.
Yeah. No, it really is that balance. Well, and speaking of balance, I think something that, like I mentioned at the beginning, I think it's really cool that you are bringing these like little tastes of consciousness and meditation in your music that almost has more of that R&B, hip hop, rock feel. There's so many mixtures of genres in your stuff, but at the same time, it's nice. And for me, it was refreshing when I was referred to you by Eli because, I have been a little bit frustrated in a certain way. And part of even the new music I've been focusing on is inspired by this too. Of like, I go into like a world of spirituality and being around all these people that are, into meditation and consciousness and all this stuff. And the music they listen to is cool. Like, don't get me wrong. There's some amazing artists out there that are doing like medicine music. But a lot of the time, it just doesn't hit the same way that an R&B song can hit for me or a rock song. And I feel like...
Food time, girls.
Food time. I feel like it really shows me that
Let them eat.
Yeah.
It shows you that.
There's still space for people to explore,
Yeah.
bringing some level of consciousness to music that may hit more of a wide audience. Like I think about even someone like Stevie Wonder. He's a goat for me because he literally somehow involved deep musicality, amazing songwriting, amazing messages about love, and was able to do it in a way that it just resonated with millions of people. And
Yeah.
it still resonates
Yeah. I mean,
long
he's
after his time.
definitely one of the greats.
And so it's stuff like that where I admired what you were doing with your newest music, because I feel like it sets the tone for a lot of cool options. And basically, a little background for people that haven't seen or known about my experience with Caye, but basically, I had the pleasure of getting hit up to play guitar for him, and then we soon realized that we had a lot of other things that we enjoyed about life, that were similar. And so one of those was he was really interested in health and bettering his level of vitality. And I had been developing these programs for artists on the road, but I was still trying to figure out how to implement it. And then Eli, I remember even like 6 months before I hung out or did any rehearsal or anything with you, he was like, dude, you got to meet my friend. He lives down the street from you. And I feel like he's just totally on the vibe. Like, I don't even know if I'll be able to go on the tour, but when he tours, like, I feel like you should go on the road because you guys would bond musically, but also you could practice all the things you've been developing. And fast forward, we ended up doing a tour early this year in March. And, it was so awesome because you were literally the quintessential archetype of what I was really wanting to bring, this knowledge of holistic health that I've been studying for the last 5 years intensely, to artists, because you knew enough about it, but you weren't completely saturated in it to where you still had places to grow in it. Yet you're an athlete and you have all these different levels of interest and open-mindedness. Like that's, I mean, first of all, it's hard to find people that are open-minded about most things, but it was awesome because I feel like you still had questions and you wanted to know, but at the same time you're like, oh yeah, Adam says this is great water. It seems like he's done the research for the last 5 years. Like, I'm going to trust him on this. Like, what's the best water? And it makes it easy to, because I feel like for me too, I like to kind of try on people's philosophies. And if it resonates, I'm like, yeah, I completely am bought in. Or maybe not. But I feel like some people are like, from
Totally,
the
yeah.
get go, they're like, I don't know,
Hang
dude.
on,
I
yeah.
don't know, man. You know, and it's just like, because, yeah, there's sometimes some far out stuff. But I mean, for the most part, it's pretty simple. Like, I want to eat good quality food. I want to make sure I have good water on the road. I want to make sure I feel good. And then I have like some level of physicality. And this is all created originally because this is what I wish I had when I was touring for major artists and stuff like that. But yeah, that being said, super fun going on the road with Caye. Yeah, what was your experience with all of that?
That was, I mean, so I'd done multiple tours before that opening. That was my first headline tour, so finally we got to do it the
Yeah.
way I wanted to do
Yeah,
it.
totally.
But, I always tried to exercise on the road and, get as much sleep as I could, and eat as healthy as possible. But like, I would always come back so drained from tour and not feel great and maybe get sick halfway through, depending.
Yeah.
And, this tour, like, this is that was probably the best I'd felt like ever.
Fuck
eating
yeah.
eating and drinking, and obviously not drink. We actually didn't drink any alcohol in the tour. I don't think any of us had even
Yeah,
a
maybe
beer.
like a beer at
Maybe
one
to
point.
celebrate the
Yeah.
last show or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah. But no, I mean, everything we were eating was great. I mean, obviously, we had talked a lot before, so I knew I could trust
Yeah.
everything you were saying, and obviously you've done more,
Well, and it's all about the balance too. It
yeah.
wasn't like super strict, like that was
No,
like the goal too. It
eighty
was like
twenty was huge.
80-20 is huge.
80-20 is huge because, as long as you're eating 80%, you can get away with a little
Yeah,
20%.
I loved having the moments where it's like, can we have pizza? I'm like, dude, yeah, we've
Yeah.
been working hard. We like ticked all the boxes with all the
And that pizza
meals.
hit extra hard.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah, no, but I mean, even just, we were really good about planning out, the travel days, instead of sitting in the car for 6 hours, we drove 2 hours, did an ice bath, drove 2 more, did a little exercise.
Yeah,
ate
Eli
some food,
was amazing
and then drove
like
2
key in
more.
that
Yeah,
too.
Eli really like found the spots, and it worked out really great. It was a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel I very rarely do I mean, never before in my life had I come back from a tour feeling stronger, better fed, and I'm maybe not more well rested, but
Yeah. Totally.
feeling better than I did when I left.
Totally.
And I came back and I had gained muscle. I had, I was feeling really good. My whole body, my immune system was strong, and that was
Amazing.
after a couple weeks of grinding, doing
Yeah.
shows, meeting hundreds of people. So
Yeah. No, it was cool because I feel like it really gave me an opportunity to see what was really possible. And luckily, I knew generally what was realistic just from being on the road myself. But then, finding ways of making sure, getting good quality food is not always easy. But if you're looking for places that are using farm to table, hopefully organic, but even if it's just like local, that generally I feel like was
the
an amazing
restaurant
way.
choice, yeah.
Making sure we stocked up on water.
Dude, also I feel like I eat healthy normally, but there were a few just additive things that you would add to my diet that I wouldn't normally eat that just made everything like work better, you know? And
what were some of those things?
like I don't know, like olives. I never ate
Yeah,
olives
some
before
healthy
that,
fats.
and that was great. Just like I don't even random moments of things I wouldn't think to eat that
Yeah.
were just so right in the moment.
Totally.
Yeah, I can't even think of like specific foods right now, but
Yeah, I mean, it was like I feel like our go-tos that are almost we need to get a sponsorship for the next
Yeah.
store, but were the Simple Mills crackers that
Yeah,
are gluten free, the raw cheese,
Raw
olives, different pasture raised turkey cuts,
yeah,
things
Pedigree.
that I think the key too is finding stuff that we could eat when we were looking for a hot meal, but then when we were doing the 6-hour travels, finding a Whole Foods in a major city, stocking up on snacks or some type of sandwich goods or something that's
Yeah.
still clean and good. And for me too, it's like finding, because I grew up around food my whole life, I want it to taste good too, which I feel like is a big aspect of health for me.
Yeah,
Actually,
the
it's like
food honestly on that tour was so good.
Yeah.
Everything hit.
Yeah, we really found some pretty
We found
amazing.
some good
I
things.
can't believe I found biodynamic raw milk
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania.
In Philly, in the
Yeah,
city.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but stuff like that definitely, even for me, it was healing being on the road after so many different experiences and feeling like the camaraderie and the good vibes and everyone being on the same page of wanting to feel good. So not
Yeah.
partying and, or partying, but in like a fun way, not like getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And then also not feeling, actually, y'all being stoked about what I was going to find next or what food I
Yeah.
was going to give you, rather than like how I've been met in the past of just like, oh, dude, why do you have to be like so weird with your like cheese and crackers, dude? Like, just come on, just like eat some French fries and a
Yeah.
burger, dude. Not that to say we didn't have some good grass-fed
We
burgers.
definitely had some good burgers.
Yeah.
Burgers were quintessential
Yeah.
addition to the meals.
Yeah, but I feel like that really was healing for me too, just because it felt great for me as a musician, but also then I was like, shit, this is actually possible. Like, this could really
Yeah.
work for a lot of people.
Dude, I mean, not having to think about like just you heading the food
Yeah.
situation and not having to think about, because on my past tours I was the Yelp guy. I was
Yeah.
always yelping to the best spot and trying to find something that like made sense for everyone, and like having you just get up, take lead, hit the Whole Foods in the mornings,
Yeah.
get groceries and enough snacks and like cookable food.
Well, especially as the artist, dude, it's like your job hopefully will be to just show up and like focus on, you know, this is your music, it's your headlining tour. It's like those things are important. I feel like a lot of people, I think, you know, there is a wave like of people getting healthy, and there I've heard of certain bands that are like super healthy on the road and stuff like that, which is inspiring. But it's interesting because yeah, I feel like it's super important to be able
So
to
important.
just know that the baseline health stuff is taken care of, and that you're
Yeah.
not thinking about that as an addition to all the million things that you're thinking about on the road.
It was great. Honestly, it was so ideal. You and Eli were the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Just taking care of me, taking care of my food, my exercise. I don't have to worry about how long it takes to get anywhere because Eli was handling the navigation.
Absolutely.
It was a dream team.
Oh yeah, and it was funny
It was a
because I
dream
feel
team.
like we had like our perfect like archetypal roles too.
Yeah,
like,
it worked out for
like because Eli's kind of like a stickler about certain things, so it was just like,
Yeah, he
nah,
was
dude, like you guys need to be back here in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like no
Yeah.
fucking around.
Yeah, and we were on time everywhere. Dude, the sound guys were like, why are you guys on time?
Yeah, exactly.
We had multiple that just weren't
And
ready
we're like
for us.
vibing high, like smiling, like
Yeah.
they probably aren't used to
Yeah,
that.
they're like, oh, and usually people show up like 45 minutes late to sound check and load in, and then they like go over
And then they're
have
like
to push the
miserable
show
and
back, and they're
stressed.
upset. Yeah,
Yeah,
and we were
totally.
like, right on time. How's it going?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No, I mean, well, and it really, yeah, it shows me what's possible, especially for, I feel like musicians are already amazing as they are, just doing what they do and being around legends and people that I've met that just are super inspiring. Is that a mosquito?
got him. I think.
I think.
Dude, these mosquitoes, bro.
Dude, still, in
I know.
freaking California.
They're getting better. They're getting
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like they're also like genetically modified mosquitoes because
Well, yeah, I've been learning about Bill Gates' project. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I'm super thankful. I just want to say a special thank you to Bill Gates for working on the mosquito situation, you know, and really, I'm glad that there's now more mosquitoes in California, like after I left South Carolina. Thank you.
yeah, thanks for that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I
appreciate that.
love more
Really.
mosquitoes
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Dude, I feel like my kill rate is like down to 15%.
Yeah.
Like I got to try like 4 or 5 times just to kill one mosquito.
Dude, they're impressively fast.
I'm like, usually they're like done,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
These ones are like whoop whoop. whoop.
No,
I gotta like chase it around the room.
dude. I've literally been on my literally I like stand up on this like stool because I realize
go
they
to the-
hunt on the ceiling and they just
Yeah.
sit there. Dude, it's the whole thing. But yeah, no, dude, it's super inspiring, and like I definitely am inspired by just, you know, also just how you've navigated your career and health, and you know, it was really fun even creating the training programs, like the physical training that we did together was awesome too, because you know, we all had some level of physical fitness interest already.
Yeah.
But you as like a tennis player is like funny. I would give you like some of the basic exercises and then you'd be killing it. So I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta like up this guy's program.
Let's go.
And give you like the more advanced like
Hell
you
yeah.
know, check exercises and stuff like that. It was cool seeing you nail those and be like, damn, all right, this guy's like he's like the star pupil right now.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, well, and like probably wrap it up soon.
Yeah, cool.
Let me see, like this.
Should we make sure oh, that's still going.
Yeah,
This one looks like it's still going.
sweet. Yeah, I see the red light blinking.
Yeah, we're good.
So let's see. Well, I guess like, you know, with what's with your vibe right now at this moment, like what are some of your most inspiring artists that are on your radar?
I mean, Bob Marley has always been my like number one since I was a kid. Just my like, whenever I need something to lift me,
Yeah.
Bob Marley. Everything he stood for, his whole vibe, he was one of the reasons why I was looking, why I manifested opening myself up to someone like you.
Yeah. Hell
Because
yeah.
he had his personal trainer, like one of his really close friends that he would,
Oh shit, I didn't even know that.
nutritionalist,
Damn.
like made sure he was, exercising and
Oh,
helping him
that's
stay
awesome.
fit. So
Fuck yeah.
that was definitely one of my original, like, yeah, I mean, he's the guy for sure. Bon Iver is a huge influence.
Yeah.
His
So amazing.
his live show is incredible. I mean, it's a band. It's not just him, but him. Justin Vernon is just really impressive,
Yeah. Well, he
inspiring
skates
person.
around on so many different levels of like
Yeah.
writing, producing.
Doing the Beatles also recently, just like I mean, always, but their arrangements, especially, are just so magical.
Yeah.
And so creative, and it really makes you think, like every part that they play, every drum part is so thoughtful,
Yeah.
and it's never doing too much. Like they're never trying to show off their instrumental
musical
abilities.
skills. It's all
about,
for the music.
it's all like, what's the best part for this? What's gonna show this or make this feel the best? And
Yeah.
that, some other artists, like I really like Dijon and Daniel Caesar. Like emotionally, they just put so much emotion into the music, and it's also thoughtful and like really well done.
Yeah. Those are freaking amazing artists.
Yeah.
Love that. I can hear that in your music too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Really, like the emotion is something that's been inspiring me lately. Like because music is the language of emotion, right? It's the sound of emotion, kind of. So artists that are able to
I think a lot of those
tap
artists
in.
have like a swag about them too.
Yeah.
I think like
True.
I appreciate that about your music too. It's like there's a level of vibe and swag to it that reminds me of stuff that you experience when you're listening to like Erykah Badu or D'Angelo or these artists that really just have like something about
Also
them that
greats.
yeah.
Yeah. Just able to like break down that wall of this is a song and this is my deepest emotions in sound.
Yeah. Yeah, super vulnerable.
Like being able to express that with your voice. I feel like all those artists really can tap into that. And it doesn't sound, it's, they're singing, but they're not like singing. They're expressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is pretty awesome.
Sweet. Well, and we'll do like a couple rapid fire to kind of close it up.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Well, with the whole thing with AI and music and technology and how that's affecting the landscape for artists, what do you think is the best way to adapt right now?
Join it.
Join it.
If you can't beat it, join it.
Yeah.
I think AI is gonna make a lot of annoying little things easier to do.
Yeah.
In the short term, who knows what it's gonna be able to do in the long term? But at least right now, I see it. You want to change one note of this already perfectly recorded audio, not a MIDI, but I feel like AI will help be able to like boom, change that note. Easy. I think, it can come up with cool ideas to start with. I've never really tried it with music, but as far as like visually representing things, when I try to come up with a cover art or something, normally I'd have to explain that to someone and try to like get a graphic designer or someone
Yeah.
to see what I'm seeing, but now I can just kind of like get what I'm seeing pretty much and give it to someone and be like, run with this,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool. And like, it's helpful to have something where you can ask it questions and not have to sift through a million answers and like get pretty much what you're looking for like that, instead of like searching into Google and like trying to figure out what is. So I'm a fan, honestly. I think it's gonna, like video editing. It definitely is making that easier. Like, but again, like it's making it easier. So it's not gonna replace people.
Yeah.
It's just gonna make it better.
Yeah, the human expression is
irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable. That until I don't want to rule out that could ever happen. That would be insane. But I mean, it's hard to envision a world where it would happen. But like that doesn't even scare me, because again, like what are we doing? We're just a bunch of people on a rock floating in space. Like,
This is true.
If we as humans create a super brain that solves the world's problems and fixes everything so that everyone can go back to being avatar people, like the blue people, and just living and being healthy and creating a beautiful ecosystem, that would be sick too. And if no one had to do anything and no one had jobs and just like we all focus on being healthy in the community and living again, turned back into animals because all the problems were taken care of. That's a utopia. I don't see that actually happening, but
well, some level of balance though. I think
some level of balance.
Some level of like actually using our inner power and accepting that.
Yeah, and I think like people in general spend so much time doing busy work that people don't need to be expending energy doing.
Yeah.
And if we can have all that shit taken care of so that people can focus on
their purpose,
healing themselves. Like imagine you cut the workday in half, spend 5 hours working on yourself, and everyone's doing that and becoming better people and like fixing themselves. The world's a better place, Then you spend your 5 hours.
Imagine if you were mandated to take care of yourself, like you would like get in trouble.
Yeah, dude,
like
honestly,
that would be another level.
That'd be crazy.
Or your pay would get cut if you weren't taking care of yourself.
Dude, but like ideally, AI just leads to a world where we don't have to even worry about money anymore, because, money is a middleman between two people doing tasks for each other, right?
Yeah.
Normally, back in the day before money, I would be like, hey, I have too many cows, you have too many goats. I'll give you a cow for 2 goats.
Yeah.
Boom. Trade. Now, it's like, with money, once money joined the picture, I have too many cows, you have too many goats, he has too many chickens. He'll give us each 2 chickens, I'll give him a cow, I'll give you a cow, and you'll give me some goats, and you'll give him some goats.
Yeah.
Right? But now it's like, okay, I don't need any chickens, so I'm going to get a goat from you, and I'm going to pay you, and you're going to get a chicken from him, and you're going to pay him. And then he's going to get a cow for me, and he's going to pay me. But it's the money didn't do anything. We just made the trade 3 ways. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's just a middleman. I feel like ideally if all the basics needs are taken care of, food, water, I mean all these things that I think, like, I don't know how, but I think AI could help with that shit. Like, then we don't even need to worry about that, and we can just focus on creating art and... Yeah, it's definitely a very utopiaistic view.
Yeah,
but that would be pretty sick.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and with the realm of art and music, what do you think is in need of attention right now?
In the realm
of especially art and music. Even I would say even more like the industries.
I think there's like a level of, so I think there's 2 sides of the music industry right now. There's the side that's kind of run by social media and TikTok and promotion, and then there's the side of like true artistry. And I think more attention on true artistry, even for the people who got into it through social media, it's just, I urge people to treat it like a business, because it is, but it's like, where do you draw the line Oh, all right. Well, that one's still
It's
going.
fine. Yeah.
Where do you draw the line, right? It's like the intention of artistry in the music always. Then you can think about all the other stuff. But once and the business stuff, but once the business like gets involved in the creation process, then it's all stale to me.
Yeah.
You know? And once it's like this song is made specifically to make money and it's obvious, you know, I get it. Like I totally
Yeah.
get it. And I invite more money to be put into the music industry for sure. But where do you draw the line? I don't know. For me,
Yeah.
it's the music shouldn't get compromised.
Yeah, absolutely.
The art, you know.
Well, and so another one is, what are your non-negotiables on a general daily basis for you staying balanced?
Exercise, for sure. Sleep,
Yeah.
for sure. Hydration, definitely those three, and nutrition.
Yeah.
And I like to feel productive, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be, you know, work productive. It could be clean the house. I just like to do something productive every day, whether
Yeah,
it's
that's meaningful.
yeah, you know, that like makes my situation better, makes the world better, whatever it is, but something that's like adding rather than subtracting.
Yeah.
Those are probably my non-negotiables.
Amazing. And so, if you were to die tomorrow and you were to leave a billboard up with a message, a single message, what would that message be?
Damn. The big question.
The big question.
Maybe just the. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. The idea that, you know, it's like seeing the world from a bird's eyes view, right?
Yeah.
Seeing it from a different perspective. I'm trying. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to create the perfect sentence right now. But the idea of zooming out, the idea of, you know, recognizing day-to-day problems as
A speck of dust.
things that sure you got to figure out, but not letting it affect you to the point where you're like overthinking everything, and like at the end of the day, it's not that important. It's not that crucial. 10 years from now, is this really going to affect you? You know, if it is, then put more thought into it. But I would say 99% of the things that people are super stressed about aren't even going to matter in 5 years from now, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, sure, put all the stress and worry into that 1 to 5% of your worries, but,
Yeah.
you know, zoom out, take a step back. Is this really going to change your life forever?
Right.
Is this really going to doom the human race? Is this really going to, like, destroy Earth?
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, that's the question. Is it really going to destroy Earth? Probably. Most of the things that humans do.
Yeah.
But, you know, don't put too much stress on the little things.
Yeah. I like that. Well, and if for people that are more interested in what you got going on, you know, what's the next thing, where can they find you?
Instagram, YouTube.
What's your Instagram handle?
Caye.
Just Caye.
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 Yeah.
And it's Caye, not K.
It's Caye. Yes, that's why I do this.
just so
you know.
to get the record straight. The amount of
Caye.
people that say, "Oh man, you're playing with a K," I'm like, "Who's that?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's Caye. So, yeah, find me there. Updates coming. There's a lot of music, a lot of videos.
Yeah, go listen on Spotify, Apple Music, all the things. This music's great.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, thanks for being a part.
Good shit, dude.
Dude,
I'm glad to be here.
yeah,
That was fucking
dude.
awesome.
That
We
was
did it.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this very special episode. If you really enjoyed the podcast, please go leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps the growth. Or at the very least, share it with someone you think will love it. And once again, thank you to all the people that have listened thus far. There's much more to come, and I'm excited to share it with you all. So have a beautiful and blessed day. Talk to you soon.